welcome to Bobo Bun's So Vintage Life. I'm Lisa, a vintage inspired dressmaker and dressmaking teacher. Today I'm going to chat with you about how I bring together my knitwear with my sewing makes so that I get a lovely colourful wardrobe that all mixes and matches. So I'll be talking about things that I've made, a new finished knit is on now, and what some of my upcoming plans will be and how they all work together. Now the cardigan I'm wearing right now, a lovely shocking pink wool, it's an Aran knit. It's the Anouk cardigan which you can no longer get, and I've modified it. This is my fourth version. I've made a black, a stony sort of cream colour and a blush pink, and now a shocking pink. And I modified it so that it would have ribbing all around the neck and the cuffs, and I'll show you the bottom in a moment. Shocking pink, because the moment I finish this, I have put this beside so many of my frocks which picks out this colour. It's going to go with so much of my wardrobe. That is the main requirement of my knitting. I love knitting lots of different coloured knits, but they're only going to go with neutrals, you know, plain separates. Some of them work with the floral prints, but for the most part I like to just add the pops of colour because I like wearing a lot of colourful prints. Have a closer look at this, and the blouse that I'm wearing, it's a 1950s simplicity blouse, you know, with a crossover neck. Made this so long ago. It's fitted with a side zip. I wear this a lot under my cord 1950s style jumper dress, and then put cardies over the top. I wear it for layering. It's short sleeve, lovely detail at the bottom which doesn't get shown too often, but I'm wearing it over my wide leg black 40s trousers, so it gets shown today, and I'm super comfy in what I'm wearing. I used to wear a lot of black and white neutrals, you know, and then bring out the pops of colour. So this is sort of returning to one of the things that I used to love to wear. This is the full length Anouk. I have actually knitted it slightly longer than the other ones, probably about an inch longer, so it'll come just past the waist. And I got some buttons yesterday so I could finish to do this v-neck cardi up. So yeah, I did a deep rib. It's meant to be in what's it, a garter stitch, you know, knitting all the way around with a lovely curve at the bottom. Yeah, so really love that, and obviously my little vintage bow brooch just to make it pop. I found some more great patterns, vintage knitting patterns, and some vintage inspired as well as true vintage sewing patterns. This one I came across amongst buying some others, and I really love this. It's not sold, what is this number? It's Butterick 5951. It's not sold as a reproduction Butterick, but obviously it's got very much 40s styling here. If I go on the back you might see it a bit better. The puffed shoulders and that gathering, it's very much a 40s style, and that raised neckline. So absolutely love that. I worked on various toiles. Is one of my toiles for this lovely dress here. So you can see why I really like the shape with the raised collar. So it comes up past the neckline, comes down into a V here. It'll come a bit lower with the facing added. It's got lovely gathers at the shoulder, and then a flat central panel that's cut away with the sides. So it's longer here in the pattern, and then it's gathered up either side. To do with away with bust darts, they've been rotated so that they're opened up into pleats, so that you get this lovely fitted shape across the bust. I'm really pleased with it, and I used the Bella tea dress sleeve yet again. I love this 40s sleeve with the 4 darts at the top and the little pleat here in the centre. The pattern suggests that you fully line the bodice. I chose not to, and I made a neckline facing for it, so the one I've got there has got a neckline facing. I just didn't want all the extra bulk to interfere with all this lovely draping that's going on, so that was my choice. So I think I've got to make this in a plainer colour, or you know, a smaller print, something that just works, something bright. I used what I'd got in my stash. I put on an A-line skirt because I didn't have enough of this fabric to use the skirt pattern, and I've put in some sleeves from the Bella tea dress. So I managed to cut this out in the end. After doing 3 toiles, I had to do a lot of adjustments with this pattern, lengthening that front section. I'm very long in my body, as you'd expect being a tall lady. So I did a lot of alterations to get it right, and in the toiles I absolutely love the shape on me. It's from Fabric Godmother. It's all these gathers at the shoulders, it's beautiful. but it just looks so boring on. I literally feel sort of like a French matron from the 1940s. It just makes me feel quite frumpy on. I might change, but it's going to go so well with this knit that I did last year. This lovely duck egg blue would pull out the blue in the flowers there. But the neckline isn't going to work, so I need something this colour but a v-neck to work with this shape bodice. I'm not going to give up on this one because I do love the shape. I think it's just the fabric. I'll carry on and work it, but I don't think it's going to be one of my most loved frocks. I worked hell for leather on this dress, really enjoying the process of sewing. And then hit that stumbling block of not liking it on me. So disheartened sewing this because I wanted to sew something that I could be wearing at the moment. I have got another make over there I will show you, which I absolutely love. It's one of my patterns that I shared with my Patreons called the Betty Bodice. But for the sewing after this dress, I turned to the Peggy Bodice from Gertie's Patreon. And I've made a few of these because that's why it's a TNT, a tried and true, or tried and tested, whatever that TNT. I'm not great on abbreviations, to be honest. But I've adapted, because it's got grown on sleeves, I've adapted it so that I can put sleeves in, and I've got little cap sleeves in here that are all lined with a lovely ice blue. So I use this glorious vintage 1970s fabric that I got from a friend of mine recently, and it's got, if I bring the fabric up close you can see it, ice blue and lilacs, and yeah, it's just absolutely glorious black. So I'm going to pop that on and show you. As you can see, it's not totally finished. I've just put the zip in after fitting it. So I've got to finish the facings and the side of the zip and hem the dress. And then she will be worn. And I couldn't put any pockets on because this literally was working with the bare minimum of fabric. Oh, and the other thing I need to tell you is about the cartwheeling. So I will show you that overhead as well. Cartwheeling. We'll return to that in a moment because you'll think, whatever's she on about? And don't think it's physical, because I have never been able to do anything like that. I think a forward roll was the sum of my gymnastic ability at school. So this is the Peggy bodice on. I'm not showing you the full length as yet. Need to get into a different camera angle for that, but I will be sharing it in the future. I'm absolutely thrilled with this. I can't do it all the way up the back. I can only get this far, so it's the problem with centre back zips. I need someone to help me. I thought this blue cardigan will probably go quite nicely with it, so let's just pop it on and have a look and see. The only thing I'm really unhappy with this is how high the neck comes up. I should have made that a bit wider, but the blue works rather well. Let's just turn the camera down again. So I think the blue works rather nicely with this dress, don't you? So I rather like these colours together, so that's another option for going forward. So I think this dress will get rather a lot of wear. I'm very, very, very pleased with it, and I love these little cap sleeves with a slight puff to the fabric. I hadn't really had an idea of what I was going to do with it. I knew it had to be a plain bodice to make the most of this glorious print, and I feel this has. Oh, and I was going to tell you about cartwheeling, wasn't I? So I'll have to show you that in an overhead next. Explain to you about cartwheeling. It's about adding in bits of fabric where you haven't got enough, you know, in the width of the fabric. This happens most often with vintage fabric, which is obviously narrower width than the modern fabric we're used to. I've had to cartwheel in at the front sections on my skirt. It's a full-gauge skirt, and I've cartwheeled in on the back sections here as well. If I show you the wrong side, you can see it more obviously here. So if I do a little drawing on the side, I've drawn something out for you already, but this is the centre front of my skirt, and I've cartwheeled in this section here at the centre. That's where I was missing fabric. So I've drawn out something for you to show you what I mean and how we solve this problem. My pattern here laid on the fabric underneath. This is the fabric, and the pattern's laid on there with the grain, you know, line matched all up. And I'm missing this part here. You can see how it overhangs. So what I do is I draw a line on my pattern, and then I would measure out my seam allowance too, like so. So I'd know the extra that I need. And then I would get another bit of fabric and I would lay it underneath here. Let's just draw this in roughly, like so. Making sure that it still follows the same grain line as the main. I would lay a piece of fabric under here and past, you know, where the seam allowance is, so I know that I've got enough to seam the two pieces together. And I would obviously lay it the same way up that the fabric is on the, you know, with the pattern here. And then I can cut out accurately all the way around that outside there and going in there, so I'd have my seam allowance like so. And I would continue to do that with all the bits that I've got, and then I would sew them together here at the seam so that I gain this whole extra part that I'm missing, that I don't have enough in the fabric width. So that's how I cartwheel. You can obviously accurately pattern match. With this I couldn't, because as I said, I only had so much fabric. I really was squeezing this to get it out, and because it's a busy print I'm not so fussed that you can't totally see. Thinking all the time I'm sewing this fabric and looking at it, and the lilac's really popping out, and I was thinking I need a lilac knit. I haven't got anything lilac in my wardrobe, even though I really love it as a colour. And this was a pattern I found last week. If I come up close, can you see that was all ribbed, but you know, with a detail just in the main body. I think the back is plain as well. A beautiful 1950s knit. It's all double knit, and you could use Wendy wool if you wished, if you could still find it, but it's Wendy wear. So I thought I'm going to knit this in lilac to go with my dress. It'll be a while before it's finished, but I'm going to look. I'm off to the coast, I think it's tomorrow, with a friend, and there's a great knitting shop there, so I'm going to look and see if we can find some lilac wool to make this knit, that I can get started on that. I am, however, doing another knit. It was one I was knitting alongside while I was knitting this pattern. It's this lovely lady shorty jacket. Now, I previously knitted this pattern in this peacocky blue. It's drops yarn, and if you see, it's a double-breasted, so it does up like so, and it's got a little Reva collar. I think I need to change this because it comes right round to the back, and I want the Reva to come out more on the shoulder like it does in the pattern. So I'm knitting this in wool that I got at Ali Pali a couple of years ago. It's sat in my stash. I'm doing it in this lovely baby pink. So I've got the back, I've done one of the fronts, so it's going really well. And can you see this lovely dart shaping that comes in at the waist? So this will go with quite a lot in my wardrobe. Also, me loving pink. Sorry, the whole time I'm trying to talk to you, if I keep pausing, it's because one of the babies, I think I've said before, there's a baby either side in our terraced house, and on one side it's just screaming its head off, so it's really distracting for me. I'm trying to talk to you and show you things, and all I can hear is this screaming, and it just makes it very hard to concentrate. So my apologies there, and if you can hear it. Other finished makes are, got it under the lumber jacket, which I'll show you in a moment, is this tie neck dress. I did show it on Instagram, but I don't think I've shown me wearing it as yet. And it's the Betty bodice from my Patreon. And I love this design. It's got a bow tie with a keyhole neck, and then the darts radiating out across the bust. So that goes nicely with this new cardigan also. So I've got that finished. I'll just pop that to one side. Then my lumberjack jacket, or my, was it Lumberjill or Eisenhower, which I did show you the making of, a pattern that I was drafting for myself, and I finally finished it, so I should just pop it on now to show you. And see, the roses, the shocking pink roses inside will match the cardi, won't they? Oh, there we go. And I've got an original 40s plasticky brooch on here, which we found at Mother's Day Vintage Market. I think it was last year we went to that. So this is my jacket. So I'll just pull the camera down and show you this. So I really, really love this. Obviously the pink's just showing through and those cuffs there. And I've got 1940s buttons on my jacket as well. I'll show you those ones there. I only had enough of these ones for the front, so I've used the propeller ones for the cuffs. So really, really chuffed with this. This is a 1940s jacket which I designed myself, and then we're going to the 1960s. If you've been here with me for a while, you'll know I love borrowing from all sorts of eras, looking at all the style details, but 60s is kind of where I stop, even though my Peggy's dress is made from 70s fabric. I think it's got a far older feel than that. So I'm going to pop on my coat. I won't be able to show you full length in this landscape view, but I just want to show you the 1960s coat that I was making, which I think I've referred to. I'm going to get dressed properly in putting a scarf around my neck. I found this lovely black and white polka dot scarf recently as well in a charity shop. So that's just nice to give a bit of interest at the neck. So just pop that in round there with all the lovely spots. I do love a black and white spot, as you can tell. And this is my coat with, again, a shocking pink lining and the heart pockets on here covered in rickrack, if you can see those, and the bound buttonhole. The heart pockets, again, were another project for my patrons. I think that was last month, yeah, in February we did hearts. And here we have the coat with rickrack on the collar, and if you can see these lovely sparkly buttons that go all the way down, and the collar also does up like so. If I lift it for you, sorry, just it's quite tricksy. I won't get it done up as well as it would look. If I try and look in the monitor, I can see what I'm doing. So it does up beautifully like so as well, and it's a really lovely wool mohair. So there's been quite a few recent makes. There seems to be a lot of black at the moment, but it's just I needed to bring some more neutrals into my wardrobe, and I knew I was missing, you know, a good classic black coat, of which this definitely is. I'll just come down a little bit again to show you more of the coat. So you can see the pockets here, they're lined with the hot pink, and you've got the shocking pink there for the lining, and my heart pockets. Hopefully that shows up okay for you. And this was from a beautiful 1960s vintage McCall pattern. So I'll just pop that to one side. Last thing I want to show you and talk about our upcoming plans. Next Friday I'm going to the Stitch Festival in Islington, London. There's about 12 of us going from different sewing clubs of mine. I think one of the ladies called it as our school outing, so we're all really excited. You know, I'm really, really fortunate to not only be able to teach lovely people, but to call many of them my friends as well. So they're just all really good fun. So we're going up to London on the train and be fabric buying, and there's a vintage seller that I really get some lovely things from, so excited to see them, and I might see some familiar faces, so really looking forward to it. So I've been planning what I want to go and buy. So I've not been buying fabric other than my Peggy dress, the vintage fabric. I've not been buying fabric for quite a few months, actually. I think probably since November, maybe before then. Now my youngest daughter will be graduating this July, so I was thinking about what I wanted to wear. Just a nice excuse to make another frock. I recently got this butterick pattern in the half price sale. I've looked at it for a long time, and I'm thinking, am I going to make this, because I just thought it's summer and it'd be rather dressy. I'm not sure if it might do my head in to wear for a whole day, but that's a possible. I'm going to look for some fabric for that. And another choice is this Simplicity vintage pattern, which I also think is absolutely glorious. On my mind for possible makes for the graduation dress. And then in the background I've got projects that I'm pattern cutting for my patrons for the coming months. I'm really, really excited about those, so I'll be looking for suitable fabric for those sorts of lovely knitting and sewing happiness and joy going on here. I'm really pleased to have found my mojo back again after not starting the year very well with you know, my leg injury and not being able to sew. So it's just really lovely. I have to show you what I got at the Knit and Stitch Festival, or the Stitch Festival. The knitting and stitching show is a totally different thing. So there'll be lots more to bring to you, and I might be showing you that dress on in another fabric, who knows. But until then, thank you so much for joining me today. Please subscribe if you enjoy my content, if you haven't already, and tell people I'm over here. The merrier, of course. Leave me your comments, what you think about what I've shared with you today. Thank you for joining me today, and I shall see you again very soon. Bye bye for now.